And I'm live. Let me go on and double check. I was originally scheduled to come on at 7:30, and because of technical difficulties, I ended up having to scrap that altogether. And then I finally managed to get it to work. And I scheduled it for 9, but I said, you know what, let me just come on. Let me just start early because I know, let me turn this down. I know that others were expecting me, so I went ahead and just jumped on. Right, so this is going to be recorded. So, if you're watching the replay, feel free to just put the hashtag replay in the comments so I know you caught the replay. But I decided to go ahead and just start early. Early because I rescheduled it for 9. But I know that I had originally planned to be on here for 7:30, but technical difficulties and it just wasn't working. So I'm here now. And it is Making Matters Monday. It's Making Mondays Matter. Let's try that again. Making Mondays Matter, but it's on a Tuesday. And I know that a lot of you have been following these episodes. And normally I would have them every Monday, but there's been a few things, that have kind of created a little bit of an upheaval in my life, so to speak. So, periodically I've had to change them from Monday to Tuesday, but it doesn't make the material that I'm sharing with you any less relevant. You could watch this on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Saturday, at midnight, or at 2 p.m. or 3 o'clock in the morning. The material is still relevant. Okay, so, but I called the show Making Mondays Matter because I was doing it on Monday to prepare for the week. Right. So this past Sunday, for those of you who are, well, let me kind of introduce myself because I always expect that, they're going to be my regulars on, but periodically I get new people who send me a message afterwards saying, I watched that for the first time and I really enjoyed it. So my name is Gina and I'm a complementary therapist practitioner, which basically means that in addition to the Western medicine that most people would use, I work with a lot of alternative therapies ranging from essential oils to sound therapy, herbal therapy, meditation, that sort of thing. So I work with a lot of people utilizing complementary therapies. So that's what I do. Um, I'm doing a series of meditations now. Actually, the next one I'm still preparing it, and that one is going to be focused on the throat energy center, communication, or center for communication, and a lot more. So I will let you all know when that is coming up. We've had the others just over the last few weeks. But some of you who know, or those of you who don't know, there was a beautiful young, I say young, but she was 95 years old. She actually celebrated 95 years. And then the week after she celebrated, her birthday was September the 18th. She turned 95 on that day, and the following Saturday she passed away. And so that week was a little hard. And then this past Sunday we laid her to rest. So it's been a challenging few weeks. And so for those of you who weren't aware of that, that's why my live streams have been a little sporadic and a little, I would post saying I'm coming live and then something comes up and I have to change the time and that sort of thing. So thank you for being so patient. Thank you for being understanding. I did do the live stream for the funeral and the gravesite service. So some of you I know saw that. And I did that primarily because she has a huge family in Peru. So I wanted to ensure that they also got a chance to watch the ceremony. For those of you who sent your condolences, I do appreciate that, and I've shared that with the rest of the family as well. So over the next for the next few weeks, I'm going to continue to share the meditations, and I have some new stuff that I'm working on. So I will keep you abreast of what's going on, and just stay tuned for new developments, right? So today, again, is Making Mondays Matter on a Tuesday. But like I said, the material is relevant whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Friday, 2 p.m., 3 a.m., doesn't matter, right? So for those of you who are watching, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate the time that we shared together. All right, so if you looked at the title for today's episode, it's basically about being a flatterer, right? And it's we're talking a little bit about how you respond to compliments. And I thought I was thinking about this because, and I'm gonna talk about Abuelita quite a bit. She's a little old lady that I was taking care of. She actually passed away from lung cancer. But in addition to, she was elderly as well. She was 95, but um, she did have those health concerns. So one of the things she always said to me, she said, Gina, I think you're my doctor in the house, or you're my angel in the house. And she always said, I prayed for someone over the years. I prayed for someone. I prayed that God would send someone to come and help me and help my daughter out. And here you are. And every time she said to me, you're my doctor in the house, or you're my angel in the house, things like that, it was just like, you know, it was a huge compliment, but sometimes it was just like, really? You really think that highly of me? And I thought, and it made me kind of reflect on even when I was younger, when people would pay compliments to me, I would always kind of really, or I would kind of change the topic and end up turning it around and complimenting that person instead, to kind of draw the attention off of me. So that's why I thought, let me address this and see if there's, and I know that it can't be just me, right? People find it so hard these days to accept a compliment, right? So I thought we'd discuss it a little bit. So how do you feel whenever someone pays you a compliment? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you openly receive the compliment? And so there's the feeling extremely uncomfortable on one spectrum, on one side of the spectrum, to feeling completely comfortable and welcoming openly the compliment. And then there's that area in between where you may end up, kind of deflecting the compliment, or kind of rewording and paying the compliment back in some way, rather than really taking that compliment and sitting with it and enjoying it for that moment, right? So there's those two spectrums. So how do you respond? Do you respond with a simple thank you? Do you compliment them in return? Do you kind of downplay the compliment? Good evening, Kathleen. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. So do you downplay the compliment? Do you just kind of deflect it altogether because you're so uncomfortable with the compliment? Here's another one. People used to tell me all the time, and my daughter to this day talks about it, and she's going to be 25 in just a few weeks, actually. She always says, Mom, I just love your cheekbones, and I just love your eyes. And people would tell me that all the time when I was growing up. They love the size of my eyes, the color of my eyes, and it was just, I remember just feeling really uncomfortable at times. And I remember also kind of trying to get the attention off of me, because I think if you're like that, you just feel uncomfortable getting that attention, right? And one of the things that I noticed, if you notice, I mean, it's kind of hard to miss, right? I shaved my head once again. If you're just if you've been watching consistently, you notice that over the last few months, I actually grew my hair out just a little bit, right? Maybe 2 inches or so of the curly fro, right? But I have, after having a bald head for 3 years, I actually started to miss it, right? I'd gotten so comfortable having a bald head, which prior to this, I had a head full of hair that I'd managed to regrow, because I had, due to issues with lupus back in the day, I had, had bald spots and I managed to regrow everything. So the day that I actually shaved my head, I had, I think, about a 12-inch ponytail that was cut off and then everything else was buzzed, right? And I remember just all the attention that I received when I would be walking down the street and people would just stop and look, and you could almost see in their face, it would be in some it was curiosity, in some it was kind of discomfort because they weren't sure why I had a bald head. Was I sick? And I even had a few people come up to me and say, well, I'm you know, you have like the perfect head to carry that look. And then some would say, my daughter is also fighting cancer. And would look at the person and say, well, I'm not. And I really hope I don't look like I am. Um, but you could tell they would try to bring up that that kind of topic, that particular topic, because I had a bald head. So they just kind of assumed that because I had a bald head, that I was fighting something, right? Then I'd have to explain the reason why I did it. I'd shaved my head. I had raised some money for childhood cancer research. My son and I had raised about $2,000, which had been donated to the childhood cancer research. What's the organization? St. Baldrick's Foundation. And as a result, I set a date, and on that day, we both went. We got our heads shaved, right? But I noticed when people would pay me a compliment, oh, you got like the perfect shaped head and all of that stuff. And it took me a while to actually embrace the bald head. When I finally did, it was like, this is me. This is so me. So when I started to regrow my hair at the request of other people, actually, after about 4 months, I thought, this isn't me. The bald head is me. The bald head is me. Because I had gotten to a point where I was embracing the bald head. I had embraced the attention, whatever attention I was getting, even if it was a question about, did I have some illness I was fighting? I just embraced that attention. And when people would say, oh, you got a perfectly shaped head, I would be, why, thank you. Thank you so much. I actually like the shape of my head, that kind of stuff. So when you get a compliment, it could be simple things, it could be great things. How do you respond, right? Think about that, because, with every one of these episodes, Making Mondays Matter, there's always an activity that I give to you, a three-tiered activity. And, I'd love to hear from you whether you actually complete these activities or not, right? So I want you to imagine for a moment, however it is that you react or respond to compliments, imagine this for a moment. There are 7 billion people on the planet, right? If everyone woke up in whatever time zone they're in, if everyone woke up every single morning with the sole intention of lifting each other up by paying compliments galore, right? Just lifting each other up every single morning. Every single morning you wake up and you find people to just lift up, raise up, elevate them. Just imagine what this world would be like. And just imagine that if you were to just accept that compliment just readily, rather than deflecting or downplaying, just embracing that compliment that comes your way. And then you take that compliment, you share it with other people, and you just uplift and uplift and uplift. Just imagine what kind of world we would have, right? So the action steps. I'm going to give you 3 tiers like I usually do: the low tier, medium tier, high tier. So on the low tier, what I want you to do is to spend some time. This is not going to be a long drawn out live stream. This is very simple. It's a simple topic, but has such a wide relevance as far as, how we respond to people, how we communicate with people, how we interact with people, right? So on the low tier, I want you to reflect on how you respond or react to a compliment that's given to you. Do you downplay it? Do you deflect the comment? Do you welcome the comment and embrace that compliment that you're receiving from this person, right? Spend some time and just reflect on that. Is it something that you struggle with? Do you struggle receiving compliments? I did for a very long time. So reflect on that, reflect on how you respond or react to compliments that are given, and try to come up with some strategies to restrain yourself from downplaying or deflecting, and retrain yourself to just welcome in these compliments. Right, so get your journal out and start journaling about this particular topic. So that's the low tier activity. The medium activity I'd like for you to do is write down 5 compliments that if someone were to pay you those compliments, you just feel amazing. So 5 compliments that you would love for other people to pay to you, right? Then I want you to take those 5 compliments and I want you to start sharing them with other people. Start paying those compliments to other people in addition to yourself. So if it means standing in front of the mirror every single morning and reading that list of compliments to yourself as you look at yourself in the mirror, so be it. But also take those 5 compliments and start sharing with other people. Simple enough, right? So the high tier activity for this is get yourself a bunch of post-it notes and the little pieces of paper that have the sticky section on there, whether it's Post-it, that's a name brand, but whatever brand you want to use, just get a bunch of those Post-it notes or those sticky notes. Then I want you to write a bunch of compliments on each piece of paper using a permanent marker or a pen, just something that's very waterproof as much as possible and very clear to read. So even if you're standing a little bit of a distance, you can see it. So what you're going to do is just take a bunch of post-it notes, write a bunch of compliments on there, whatever. I'm sure that you can come up. It doesn't come up with a list of things. It doesn't have to be, just get creative. If you're at the office, maybe have a bunch of the sticky notes and just go around. Think about your coworkers. Think about something that you may like about that particular person. Write it on there, and then maybe when they're not looking, walk around to their cubicle and just post it on their cubicle, post it on their chair, stick it up on the door. If you're in, say you're in the parking lot, maybe have a bunch of sticky notes and just maybe stick things on people's windows, nice things, all right? These are supposed to be compliments. And maybe you see someone getting out of the car and they have on the cutest little top you've ever seen. Just write it on the sticky note saying, "Oh, saw you today, cute top." Stick it on there. Just get creative. It's meant to be a kind activity. So, but also be safe. Okay, don't just go randomly sticking things everywhere. Get creative, but also be safe in the process. Mirrors. If you have children, they have their own bathrooms. Start writing little notes to your kids, paying them little compliments. Stick it on their mirrors, or stick it inside of their backpacks before they're heading off for school. Stick it on your husband's coffee mug. When he picks it up in the morning, that he can see that little note written on there. I'm sure that you can come up with a host of other ideas, but these are just some. Oh, here's another one. When you go to pay for your, if you're at like a little coffee shop or whatever the case might be, if you're paying in cash, take a little compliment note, the little sticky note, put it on top of the money that you're giving to them, and you'll pay that person a compliment. Maybe you like the sound of their voice when they were taking the order. Maybe they were just very patient with the person in front of them as they were placing the order. Whatever the case is, I'm sure you can come up with a reason why you're paying that compliment, right? The idea is to just get creative and to start accepting these compliments readily, willingly as they come to you. Stop deflecting them. Stop turning it back to the other person, because the other person is really taking the time to say something nice, to pay you this compliment. So don't downplay it and don't lessen it by deflecting it and not receiving. All right. So those are your three action steps. The low is just reflect on how you respond or react to compliments, and then try to come up with strategies to restrain yourself from deflecting or downplaying and to retrain yourself to welcome in these compliments. The medium is to write down 5 compliments that you would love to have people give to you, and then start using those for other people in addition to yourself. And the high is just to get a bunch of post-it notes, permanent marker, and a list of compliments, start writing, and just start posting everywhere. All right. And that is today's episode of Making Mondays Matter. Like I said, it was going to be short and sweet. Okay. So I'm working on like I mentioned earlier, I'm working on the next meditation, which is going to be focused on the throat, that throat energy center, which has a lot to do with communication. And ironically, compliments and not downplaying compliments, this has a lot to do with our communication center, right? And how well we accept these compliments, and also how easy is it for you to give a compliment, because that all has to do with that particular energy center. Has a lot to do with also with the solar plexus area, which is where your immune system lies. So the ability to give compliments, receive compliments, all of that is tied in. So the next meditation that we're going to be focused on is going to be around the throat energy center, which the throat is, we're talking about the neck, we're also talking about the mouth going down, also involves a proportion of the lungs. Because if you notice, if you're having a hard time saying what it is that you want to say, you'll notice sometimes that your chest gets really tight and it's like hard to breathe. So it's not just about the throat or the mouth in communication, it's also part of the lungs, or a proportion of the lungs that are involved in that particular energy center. So we'll be doing a meditation, a little bit of a reflection and meditation around how to heal that particular energy center. And that is coming up. And I'm also working on a few other things, like some art therapy workshops, and those are going to be most likely in person, unless I find that there are a lot of people who are online who would like to take part in that, and then we'll just create an event and I will just go live with that as well. There will be a cost involved in that particular one that I'm doing, the art therapy workshop. We're also working on some vision board activities, and you learn it. Just stay tuned and I will fill you in on a lot more information relating to that particular one. But we're, I really miss Abuelita. This is the little lady I was taking care of, because my life has basically been kind of revolving around her for the last few months, at least the last 4 or 5 months. And so now it's kind of opened up to where I can do a lot more of these activities. And what I'd like to hear from you is, if you'd like to take part in these online, I can create these events. I know there was some interest several months back. So what I'm going to do is start putting together some events where we can do these art therapy workshops online if there's a lot of interest. I know there's a lot of interest for the in-person, so if we can tie together the in-person and the online activity, then I will do that as well. Or otherwise, I will have some in-person, separate, and then we'll do some online separate, but we'll make it work. So I welcome your feedback on that, and I would also welcome any topics that you'd love for me to talk about. What I'm going to start doing is really bringing back my Tuesday episode where we talked about lots of different tea blends and herbal stuff that I work with on a regular basis. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is sharing with you. There's let me grab it real quick. I went to the Dollar Tree recently. Oh, and I say recently, this was like 2 months ago. But they're still around, because periodically when you find stuff at the Dollar Tree, they're there for a moment, and if you don't get them, they're sold out and they never come back. But this is one item that has been coming back, and I wanted to share that with you because I work with essential oils quite a bit, and this little diffuser I thought was the cutest little thing. So I went, comes in this little box. I'm going to be sharing a lot more about essential oils again. I used to have a show on Fridays called Oily Fridays where I shared a lot of the essential oil blends with you. So I'm going to be starting that back up again. But if you go to the Dollar Tree, you will see this little box, and it's a tiny little diffuser that comes in there. Well, I say tiny, but it's like a personal diffuser, right? You open it at the back here and you put in a couple of batteries, and I believe that they're AAA batteries. And then what you do is this little button on the front. Well, let me show you. I already have something inside. It comes with these little just bear with me. It comes with these little pads. And what you do is you drop a couple drops of the essential oil blend on there, and then it goes into the bottom. Let me go ahead and open that up. There's a fan. Let me see if you can see. There's a fan on the bottom, and then you put your few drops of essential oil on the little pad like this. I have some on there right now. You take that, put it in there, and then you pop it back onto. Let me get it on here right. It's very easy to put on. I can just kind of. Okay, snaps right back on, and then you press this button. I don't know if you can hear it, but what it does is it causes the little fan in there, it spins around and it blows the essential oil. I'm hoping you can hear it. It's very quiet actually, and this is just your personal it's like your personal diffuser. You can carry it with you because it's battery operated, and it's very quiet, and yeah, very, very easy. So let me go ahead and turn it off. Initially, when I first saw these, someone told me, those are really, really horrible. They don't work. The battery burns out really quickly. And I thought to myself, well, let me put them back. And I did, except for one. I brought it home, tried it out, put some really good batteries in here like Energizer, Duracell. And I think this battery has been in here about 2 months. This was the first one I bought. They do work, and it's really good when you're in your own little personal space, like in maybe you're in a little cubicle at the office, and you just need that little uplift, and you can just drop some lavender essential oil onto the little pad and turn it on, or whatever essential oil you want to work with. So I'm going to start bringing back that show so we can talk a little bit more about essential oils. And if you can get your hand on one of these little diffusers, it's so easy to work with, right? Very, very easy to work with. And I mean, it's at the Dollar Tree. It's $1. The most expensive thing that you're going to put in here is probably the essential oils, which you can even find you can find some at the Dollar Tree as well. But yes, if you can find one of these, really, really good. So I'm going to be bringing that show back called Oily Fridays, and I'll be sharing with you a lot of the essential oil blends that I've worked with over the years to heal myself. And yeah, so those will be on Fridays, Oily Fridays. What else do I have coming up? Oh gosh, got a lot that I'm working on, but more about that in future episodes. So I want to thank you again for just being patient and understanding as we went through this transition. I was going to come on yesterday to do this, but we had a lot of family members that came in. So I said, you know what, let me just spend time with family. They had come with, they traveled from different states to come for Abelisa's funeral. So we had a lot of people here last night, and it was just a good time to spend with family. So just I just want to say thank you for understanding that, as we went through this transition period, and knowing understanding that as much as I tried to come on to do the live streams at the time that I planned them, it doesn't always happen. But I'm glad that I, I managed to make it happen tonight. Tonight wasn't about, the issue wasn't that we had a bunch of family. It was, for some reason, I couldn't get onto the Wi-Fi. It just wouldn't connect. And I said, you know what, God, I'm going to take that as a sign that that's not the moment I'm supposed to come on. So I just waited, and I restarted the laptop and gave it some time and came back on, and it worked. So for those of you who are here, thank you so much for joining me. For those of you who watch this on the replay, thank you so much for watching. And this is going to be there. If you're watching from YouTube, feel free to share it out. If you're new to my channel, thank you for subscribing. I try to upload new content like every week. There'll be new content uploaded. If you're watching from Facebook, thank you so much for joining me again this evening, and I will see all of you on another episode of Making Mondays Matter and all of the other things I've got coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you again.